Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, how are you? Okay, I'm also good. Yes, today we had read the poetry Keeping Quiet, which tells us about the importance of calmness or peace in our life that helps us to understand ourselves. And today we are going to read another poem that is A Thing of Beauty. So, the title of the poem is A Thing of Beauty. I have written A Thing of Beauty is Joy Forever. Okay. Have you heard this saying, A Thing of Beauty is Joy Forever? Yes? No? None of you. So, A Thing of Beauty is Joy Forever. And the title is A Thing of Beauty. Means to say, the beautiful things, beautiful object, they are always pleasing. They always gives us happiness or joy. Now, if we talk about the theme of this chapter, theme of the poetry, sorry, not the chapter, but the theme of the poetry, that is nature is an endless treasure of beauty or joy. Okay, it's a perpetual source of joy and happiness. So, John Keats, he has explained, he has mentioned in the poem the importance of nature or the joy, the happiness which is given to us by nature. For Keats, the world of beauty was an escape from the dreary and painful life. For taking relaxation, comfort, peace from the dreary life. He escaped from the political and social problems of the world into the realm of imagination. Poetry for him existed not as an instrument of social revolt nor of philosophical doctrine, but for the expression of beauty. Keats believed a beautiful thing is a source of perennial joy and happiness, continuous joy and happiness. It leaves an indelible mark on people's mind and provides one with eternal happiness. So, beauty provides us eternal joy, eternal happiness whenever one thinks about it. Joy increases with the passing time as one recalls a thing of beauty. Now we read about the introduction of the poet and then we shall continue about the poem. So it's mentioned in your book about John Keats that John Keats was a British romantic poet, although trained to be a surgeon. Surgeon, you know, who does surgery. Keats decided to devote himself wholly to poetry. So there are many doctors, many surgeons who are also poet or artist. Keats' secret, his power to sway and delight the readers, lies primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations in terms of language. So he understand the world. He understand the surrounding. The following is an excerpt, the poem which we are going to read. This is an excerpt from his another poem. The title was Endymion. What was the title? Endymion. So from that Endymion, this extract has been taken. This piece of writing, the poem has been taken. A Poetic Romance. What was that title? Endymion, A Poetic Romance. The poem is based on a Greek legend, a Greek story, in which there was Endymion. In which there was a character, Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd. So Endymion was a beautiful young shepherd and poet. So poet himself is in the name of Endymion. Poet himself in the character of shepherd. So shepherd, poet is the same thing here. Who lived on Mount Letmos. Mount Letmos is the name of the mountain. He lived on Mount Letmos and he had a vision of Cynthia. Cynthia, the beauty of moon. Cynthia, the moon goddess. Okay. The enchanted youth. So this shepherd or the poet, he is describing when he was youth in his adult age. He was a youth. So the enchanted youth resolved to seek her out. So when he had the vision of Cynthia, the beauty, the moon goddess, he resolved to seek her out, to find her out, and so wandered away. He roamed around. He wandered around here and there, everywhere, through the forest, down under the sea, mountain, fields, in order to find his love, his beauty. And therefore, when he has undergone all these places, so he has mentioned, he has experienced, and therefore he has written about the beauty. So the theme of the poem is already mentioned for you. Nature is endless source of joy and happiness. Nature always gives us joy and happiness. Now, what pleasure does a beautiful thing give us? Are beautiful things worth treasuring? The question is asked to us. What pleasure do or does a beautiful thing give us? Yes, peacefulness, tranquility, happy, relaxation, comfort, good sleep. What do they give us? Think what pleasure, beautiful thing, makes us positive, yes, inspire us, motivate us. Are beautiful thing worth treasuring? What do you say? Are, yes, they should be treasured. Why? Why? Because because of our bad time, when we are sad, when we are unhappy, when we are disappointed, and if there is any source of beauty, there is any source of beauty treasured, then it can change our mind, it can make us happy. So that's what we are going to read in the poem, and you will understand better. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. So the poet John Keats says that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Means to say, a beautiful thing always gives us joy, always gives us happiness, always makes us happy. So a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. Its loveliness will increase with the passage of time. It will not decrease. It will not come to nothingness. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us. So, a thing of beauty that gives us joy, happiness, peace. It also gives us a bower. Bower means a quiet place, a comfortable place for making us happy, peaceful, relaxing. So it will keep a bower quiet for us. And also it will give us a beautiful sleep, a sleep which is full of sweet dreams, not bad dreams, not nightmares, but sweet dream. You are lost in dream. You are having a vision of Cynthia or roses or a beautiful scenery. You are roaming near the seashore. So on the mountain with your beloved, all this kind of expression you can imagine. So therefore on, and he also says full of sweet dreams and health. It will also give us good health, happiness, and quiet breathing. Quiet breathing means relaxation time. It will give us, it will makes us happy. Therefore on every morrow are we reading. The poet says that every morrow, every day, morrow means next day, every day, every morning we are reading. We are we reading means we are reading. What are we reading? What are we making? We are reading the flowery band. Now when he says flowery band, what do you mean? Are we reading? So there is also another poetic device that is called inversion. What is inversion? Are we reading? So yes, normal order of words reversed. Normal words are reversed. That is inversion. Instead of saying we are reading, it is written are we reading. So my point was, therefore on every morrow, every day, are we reading a flowery band? We are reading, we are making a flowery band to bind us to the earth. We are reading a flowery band. The metaphor is used here. We are reading a flowery band means we are connecting ourselves with the earth. Earth, flowery band here stand for the earth, the nature, the trees, the mountain, whatever the earthly things. So therefore, on every morrow are we reading, we are making a flowery band, we are connecting, we are attaching ourselves to the things of the earth to bind us, to join us to the earth. And then he says, spite of despondence of the inhuman dirt. So he says that there is lack of inhuman, there is lack of noble nature. There is despondence. Despondence means disappointment, distress. So despite of despondence, despite of inhuman activity on the earth, despite of dearth of noble nature. On the earth there is dearth. Dearth means lack of noble nature, lack of noble personality, noble behavior. Despite of too many gloomy things, gloomy days, unhealthy or over darkened ways, mysterious things, made for our searching. Made for our searching means in which we are involved. We are involved in all kind of darkness, over darkened ways, mysterious things about death, about relationship, about life, about sadness, sorrow, trouble. We are fear, we have fear of death, we are afraid of death. So he says that in spite of despondence, in spite of darkness, in spite of negativity, in spite of so many negative things on the earth, yes, in spite of all, there is some shape of beauty that moves away the pall of darkness from our spirit. There is some shape of beauty, some kind of beauty that removes the pall. Pall means the cover, the curtain, the covering. There is some of shape of beauty that removes the cover of darkness, the cover of ignorance, the cover of disappointment from our dark spirit, from our negativity. Dark spirit means from our negative mind, negative soul. And then further he gives the example of the list of the beautiful things of the world, list of the beautiful things by nature. And he says the things which makes us happy, the things which removes the cover of darkness, pall of darkness from our spirit, they are such as the sun, the moon, Trees, all kind of trees, old trees, young trees, all kind of trees are sprouting a shady boon. They are sprouting a shady boon. Yes, sprouting, they are spreading, and boon means blessing. They are giving blessings to everybody, to human being, to animals, and everybody. So the trees, the young and old, they are sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. Simple sheep here stand for human being. Simple sheep. Jesus Christ, Lord Jesus, he said that I am the shepherd and you are my sheep. I am the shepherd. He said shepherd means charva. He said I am the shepherd. You follow me. I will take you to the pasture land, right land, correct path. You follow me. He said. So he says, that poet says that, so in relation to Jesus Christ also he has said, John Keats has said that the all kind of trees, old and young, they are sprouting a shady boon, they are giving blessing to all kind of people, even simple sheep. Simple sheep means innocent people, innocent men. And also sheep stand for the normal sheep. Okay, so it includes two meaning: simple sheep, animal, and innocent people. And such are daffodils. And then he further continues and says that, and such are some more examples of the natural things. Daffodils is the flower, nargis flower. Okay, it's yellowish color nargis flower. So daffodils, with the green world they live in. So daffodils are found in the green world. Green world means forest. So instead of saying forest, is saying green world. So means what? Metaphor again. With the green world they live in, and clear rills. Rills means small water bodies. So clear waters, water body, that for themselves are cooling covered. So the clear rills provide cooling covered. Cooling covered means to say cooling place, comfortable place, especially for us in summer season, hot season. Alliteration, poetic device is used there in cooling covered. So that for themselves are cooling covered, make gains the hot season. In the hot season, the mid forest break. And the poet says that if you visit the middle of the forest, what do you see? You would see a thick mass of ferns. Thick mass of ferns. Ferns, a kind of plant, a green plant. So if you happen to visit the forest, you would see a thick fern, yes, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose. You would also notice what the forest is also sprinkling flavor of roses. What kind of roses? Musk rose. So this is chameli, musk rose, a kind of rose, you understand. So rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. The flower blooms, the flower opens, and you would notice the beauty of the flower, the beautiful flavor, fragrance of the flower if you happen to move to the middle of the forest, other than the thick mass of the fern. Also, you would notice the musk rose. And such too is the grandeur of the domes. And whatever the story you have listened about the mighty dead means all those people who are dead, like the kings, queens, powerful people. Such too is the grandeur of the domes we have imagined for the mighty dead. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, whatever the lovely tales, tales means story, We have heard or read about these mighty emperors, tales about these mighty emperors, this personality. Like that, there is an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens spring. Like the stories we have heard about mighty dead, which has inspired us, same way there is also an endless fountain of beauty, immortal drink, endless fountain of nature, fountain of natural things, natural beauty that is falling from heaven's brink. As if God's blessing, God has created all these things. God has given all these natural things, natural surrounding for us to enjoy, to make us happy. So, like an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. Brink means the edge, the top of heaven. So, nature is the fountain of drink which gives us heavenly drink. Nature is the fountain of drink. Nature is the fountain. You can compare the nature with the fountain. The way fountain showers its water, same way nature is showering its beauty to make us happy, to make us peaceful. So all the things of the nature which have been provided to us, they are all beautiful. They are all lovely. They are all as lovely as the tales we have heard about the mighty emperors, mighty rulers. Brink means the edge. An endless fountain of mortal drink pouring out from the heavens brink. Brink means the edge. EDGE. Edge of heaven, top of heaven, mouth of heaven. Now we can also discuss the poetic devices. Let's see what is there in the first stanza. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow are we reading. So the poetic devices you can notice A, B, B, C, C. Forever, never. Keep, sleep. Breathing, reading. So A, B, B, C, C. Now in the line, a bower quiet for us. What is the poetic device here? A bower quiet for us. But will keep a bower quiet for us. Bower here stand for what? A comfortable place, a beautiful place which makes us happy. Bower actually, if we understand literally, listen, look here. If we understand literally, what is a bower? Bower is a place which is surrounded by trees or the creeper. If you have been to any forest or any garden, you would see there are some places it is covered with greenery, especially the main gate, especially in some of the colleges, schools, institution, that girl park. So all kinds from all sides, the leaves are falling, the creepers are there. So yes, arch is made. Yes, yes. So that is the bower, literally. But here bower stand for a comfortable place, a place which makes us happy. So a poetic device metaphor has been used there. Next, the poetic device, if we talk about, there is are we reading? Which one? Inversion. Are we reading? Okay. Inversion is normal order of words which is reversed. Okay. Next, a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Metaphor. Flowery band here stand for the earthly things. There is also imagery in flowery band. When I say flowery band, what comes to your mind? Picture. Yes, flowers, flowers, garland of noble natures, of all the next anaphora, of noble natures, of all unhealthy and over darkened ways. So repetition of words in two consecutive lines. You can see of noble, of is repeated. Two words of repeated in two different consecutive lines. That is anaphora. If it was in same line, then it would be repetition. Next, from our dark spirits, such the sun, the moon. Yes, from our dark spirits. Which poetic device? Again, metaphor. Dark place compared to our dark spirit, our negative attitude, a dull, depressed, distressed attitude. And trees, all these things are symbol of nature. Symbol of nature, yes, such the sun, the moon, trees, all these are symbols of nature. They are symbolizing natural beauty. Then we come to the next stanza, and the poetic device you would notice, that is cooling covert, that is alliteration. Then we have imagined for the mighty dead. Mighty dead. Which poetic device in mighty dead? Hmm? Mighty dead. Oxymoron. What is oxymoron? Two contrasting words are placed together. Oxymoron. For example, mighty, dead. Now, how can somebody be mighty also and dead also? Dead people, how can they be? So there's oxymoron. For example, it's a hot, cold day today. Hot, cold. That's oxymoron. Okay. And other poetic devices we had seen. Transferred epithet, gloomy days, unhealthy ways. So, yes, so I told you that when the adjectives, the qualities which are used to qualify a noun, they are given to abstract ideas. That is transferred epithet. Imagery has been used many of the places. So, let's continue the poetic devices which have been used. There's also another one, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. So what poetic device you can notice here? Yes, one is imagery, very correct. When I say endless fountain, when I say fountain, what comes to your mind? Imagination, imagery. What else? Endless means hyperbole, endless, exaggeration, endless pouring unto us from the heavens bring. Okay. Metaphor also is there because the beauty has been compared with the fountain. Next, wreathing a flowery band. Already we have discussed there is metaphor. Then alliteration also we had seen cooling covered. Cooling covered, there is also imagery. When I say cooling covered, what comes to your mind? A beautiful place, yes, surrounded by trees or plants. Inhuman, dearth, some shape of beauty, some shape of beauty, personification, shape of beauty. Transferred epithet, unhealthy and over darkened ways, gloomy days, already we have discussed. Symbols, the symbols are bower, flowery band, the sun, the moon, the tree, the daffodils, the rills, all these are the symbols used in the poem. Now, if you talk about the message, what is the message of the poem? So, the message of the poem is that beautiful objects of nature are in plenty on the earth. The sun, the moon, big and small trees, the daffodils in the world of green, the clear rills that quenches the thirst of the birds, the blooming musk roses in the forest that spreads its sweet fragrance, the grandeur of the mighty dead and their mighty tale as our perennial source of joy, continuous source of joy and inspiration which make life worth living. Man is inspired by beautiful things on the earth to live happily. In spite of trouble and suffering, nature pours on us endless joy that dispels the gloom of pain and suffering. The message is that in spite of disappointment, distress, negativity, gloomy days, over darkened ways, there is some shape of beauty that gives us happiness, that gives us joy, like the sun, the moon, the mountain, the trees, the rills, the musk roses. So we must treasure the beauty. We must treasure the beautiful things. So the beautiful thing, beautiful object can end. For example, there is a beautiful rose flower. It can fade, it can decay, but the beauty it had given me, the joy it had given me, happiness it had given me, first time when I had plucked it or seen it, that will remain with me. When you are sad, unhappy, you think of the beautiful things like lakes, nature, mountain, hills, valleys. Why do people go to all these places? Yes. So they get comfort, relaxation, they change their mind, their attitude, they are inspired. So that's what about a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty, the title is. A thing of beauty is joy forever. It always gives us happiness, it always makes us happy. So that's the end of the poem. We shall meet tomorrow with the new poem, new poetry. Now,